and welcome back to my channel. Today, I'm going to share with you how to get the look for FlorsFashion for Fashion Art Toronto 2021. The show is going to be taking place on June 11th at 10 p.m. on Fashion Art Toronto's website. All the details will link in the description box below, as well as what products I use and some alternative products to flatter different skin tones. Huge thank you to everyone at FlorsFashion, as well as our makeup director, Rachel Jones at Be Pretty MUA, for allowing me to share how to get the look. So without any further ado, let's jump right into the video. So before we start applying any makeup to our skin, make sure you have properly cleansed, moisturized, and taken the skincare steps you need to properly prep your skin for makeup. Once your skincare's had a moment to set in, I like to go through and use a tissue just to blot away any of the excess oil sitting on the skin. So after we've blotted our skin, for anyone like me who has more of a kind of oily or shiny zone to their face, I like to take a tiny bit of a translucent powder just to mattify those areas. And with this look being very, very glowy, it's gonna help knock back the shine when we get the rest of our makeup on. We want our complexion to be kind of like the star of the show, so we want everything to look as natural and realistic as possible. If your skin tone's very even, you can skip foundation altogether and maybe use a little bit of concealer under the eyes or on a blemish or spot where you want a little bit of coverage. If you're like me and you have a lot of redness or discolorations in your face, or you just feel more comfortable with a little bit of foundation, what I suggest is on the back of your hand, a palette, a plate, I like to take a little bit of my foundation and a little bit of moisturizer and mix them together. Here I've got about 3 parts moisturizer and then 1 part foundation. Tap the product only where you want coverage. You can use a finger, a brush, or a sponge to kind of spread the product out. Once you have a light layer of your complexion product, step back and then look for any area where you want a little bit more coverage. I did not apply any of this kind of foundation product around my eyes because I like to save that area for concealer. But if you've got any more areas, like for me, I've got some areas where I've got a little bit more redness, I'm gonna add a tiny bit more product there and then buff it out. So once you have your all over complexion product on, step back again, see one final check if you have anything that you want to cover. If it's a small blemish or around your eyes, don't do that yet. I like to save that for concealer. And now I like to either use a different makeup brush or a damp beauty sponge to kind of press over everything that we just applied, and that's gonna help take off any excess makeup that is just sitting on top of our skin, and then what's left on our skin, it's gonna press it in and make it look more like a second skin, because for the show, we want our skin to look as naturally perfected as possible. Once you kind of have your complexion on, you can take it in 2 different directions. I'm gonna add timestamps below this video in the description box to the different sections of this video. So I'm gonna be using powder to highlight and add color to your skin. Go ahead, jump to where I talk about concealing and powdering, and do that now. I am gonna use a liquid highlight and a liquid blush color, so I'm gonna do those first. If you're using a liquid highlight, I like to mix these products again to create the most realistic effect. So I'm gonna mix together a little bit of the highlight with the foundation to create kind of a natural skin-like highlight. And we are gonna turn our head to see where the light naturally hits. So for me, the light's kind of hitting on my cheekbone, kind of starting here at the apple, on top of the bone and wrapping into the forehead. So that is where I want to apply my highlight. Take your foundation brush and we are just gonna press that into the skin. Go back in with your secondary makeup brush or the beauty sponge that you use to kind of soften up the look of everything, and we're gonna go back over to press that into the skin. You want to have a very strong glow in select points. So I'm gonna take a little bit of my highlight not mixed with foundation, so just pure highlight. And I'm gonna look again and find where the light hits my face the most. So right here is the strongest on the front of my cheek. Here. Lightly press in the product. We want to start adding color to our face. For this color, I'm going to be using a shade like this. So it's a little pink, a little corally, a little bit bronzy. If you do not have a color like this in your collection, you can mix your cream blush, cream bronzer, liquid blush, liquid bronzer, powder blush, or even a bronzy lipstick and more of a pinky natural lipstick. Just mix them together half and half and you can create a similar tone, because this color is equal parts bronze and blush to really suit your particular skin tone. So we're gonna mix together our blush and our highlight color. If you're working with powder products, go ahead, mix your powder, highlight, bronzer, and blush all together, and you're gonna apply this layer the same way. To smile, find out where the round fatty part of the cheek is. So for me, it's right here. Relax your face, go a little bit higher, and you are going to kind of pat that blush starting right under the colored part or the iris of your eye, tapping it back towards your hairline and the center of the bridge of our nose, but right on the chin, and blend that color out. And take our cheek color on its own, smile again, find that kind of fatty part of the cheek where kind of fullness is. Controlled blending motions. We have that product roughly blended out. You've noticed I've not completely blended. You can definitely see where it starts and stops. I'm gonna go back with that makeup sponge and tap over it. Once you have that blended out, we are gonna move on to lips. So with whatever color that you just used on your cheeks to get that kind of pure color without the highlight, use that on the lips. If you're working with powders, take a little bit of a lip balm or a gloss, put it on the lips, blot it away to where there's that stickiness, and then you can use a finger or a brush to apply that mixture of colors over the lip. The lips together to really spread the color, a second layer of that color. I put my blush color on the back of my hand. I'm gonna take a kind of fluffy eyeshadow blending brush, pick up a little bit of that mixture I used for my lips, tap off most of it. I like to keep tapping my brush until barely anything is coming off. We are gonna wash that color all over the movable part of our eyelid. So now that I have a general wash of color over my eyes, I'm gonna go in and use a pencil eyeliner. If you have more fair to light medium skin tones, I suggest using a kind of brownish color. Medium to dark skin tone, then you can go in with a black. Take our pencil eyeliner, set it right at the root of our eyelashes. We're going to apply a few dots just along the eyelashes. It's okay if it's messy. In all honesty, the messier the better. We're gonna take our same eyeshadow brush and we're gonna gently buff over this eyeliner. Once you have that blended, you should see the most color right at the root of your lash and less as it fades up. It's okay at this point if it kind of extends out here too much, because especially if you're someone like me who has more of a kind of round, slightly downturned eye shape, when you're buffing that liner, it can go down here, which is okay. We still have not done our concealer, so this is why we save it to the end so we can clean everything up. Pick up a little bit more of our blush. We're gonna take a little bit more of the color that we applied all over our eyes, and we are gonna buff right where the kind of line where the eyeliner starts and the eyeshadow stops. You can see from a distance if there's any discrepancies in your eyeshadow. So if you get something where there isn't that nice, clean, kind of natural gradient from where your eyeshadow starts, skin color begins, take a clean brush and we're just gonna lightly buff right on that edge. So once you have that on, we are gonna now move on to our concealing. If you've applied powders or your eyeshadow has gone further outside the corner than you want it to for the look, take a cotton round, put a little bit of micellar water on it, or you can use a moisturizer and a cotton bud. And you can use that just to kind of wipe under the under eye area, get any of that eyeshadow fall down, and clean up your outside edge. I'm gonna go ahead, curl my lashes, and apply mascara to my top lashes only. We're gonna apply concealer. Where you apply concealer is very, very individual. I only need a little bit of concealer under my eyes. I'm gonna use a little bit just to kind of sharpen up the lower lip. I like to take what's left over on my concealer brush and buff over that seam of the eyeshadow one more time, really give it a diffused look. For finishing touches, I like to brush my brows up. For your brows, you can either just brush them up with a brow brush like I did, you can use a little bit of a clear brow gel, or you can use the soap brow technique. Look at the lips, look at the eyes, see if the cheek still has intensity. Step back from your mirror to get a full look of how things look from a further distance. Because Fashion Week being all virtual, our colors are not gonna look as vibrant as we want them to. So a lot of times you might need a little bit more blush, a little bit more lip. The cheek needs a little bit more vibrancy. Make sure all of your edges are softened. If you're using a beauty sponge, now flip to a clean side of your sponge. If you're using a brush, take a paper towel or a microfiber cloth, wipe off the brush, use that brush or sponge, and just give everything one final press over. Your gloss to the center of the lower lip. I'm gonna take a tiny, tiny bit of the highlight color, just the pure highlight color that we have on the cheek, and I'm gonna place that right on the inner corner of the eye. To finish off our look, I'm gonna use a little bit of a translucent powder just to knock off the shine anywhere I don't want there to be shine. So this is our final look for the FlorsFashion fashion show for spring summer 2021. Before you head off to the location of the show, make sure you have your touch-up products with you. Lip/cheek color. If you used a gloss, make sure you have your gloss. Finishing powder and your applicator. Before you head off onto the runway, there will be a makeup artist at the show to add some final tweaks to anyone's look that might need a little bit more help or just a little adjustment. So if you don't get something, don't worry, because there is going to be an artist on location. Huge thank you again to everyone at FlorsFashion, as well as our makeup director, Rachel Jones at Be Pretty MUA. For anyone watching at home that is curious to see the look, check out the Fashion Art Toronto website. And the FlorsFashion fashion show will be on June 11th at 10 p.m. I hope you enjoyed following me along to get the look for the FlorsFashion show. And huge thank you again to everyone. And I will see you on my next video. Bye, y'all.